Application in private administrative remedy. In the private domain, particularly in matters of contractual disagreement or commercial enforcement, the doctrine of clean hands is enforceable by affidavit. Where one party issues a conditional acceptance, followed by a notice of default or opportunity to cure, the administrative record becomes the venue of adjudication. If the initiating party fails to perform with full disclosure, fairness, or adherence to procedure, their standing collapses under the weight of the doctrine. Clean hands is not invoked merely by accusation, but by evidentiary demonstration that the other party has acted in dishonor. Thus, a well-documented paper trail, notarized declarations, and uncontested affidavits form the structure upon which equitable relief can be claimed or denied. Footnote: This section details how clean hands operates in administrative and private remedy processes through commercial documentation. Criteria and evidentiary thresholds. To invoke the clean hands doctrine effectively, a party must show that the opposing party acted with willful misconduct, concealed material facts, breached fiduciary duty, or knowingly engaged in fraud. The court, or in private remedy, the public record, requires a standard of evidence consistent with the seriousness of the allegation. This includes documented timelines, correspondence, proof of dishonor, and unrebutted affidavits. Notarized submissions that go uncontested within a defined period may legally operate as judgments, especially under uniform commercial code mechanisms. The evidentiary burden rests on the party asserting dishonor, and their credibility is weighed not only on the evidence they present but the manner in which they conducted themselves throughout the process. Footnote: This section outlines the evidentiary burdens required to successfully invoke the doctrine of clean hands. Implications for public servants and officials. Public officers acting under color of law are not exempt from the doctrine of clean hands. Their oaths of office, fiduciary obligations, and adherence to administrative procedure place them in the highest category of accountability. When a public official knowingly enforces a rule, code, or citation without full jurisdiction, proper notice, or authority, they may be acting in bad faith. Should such actions be challenged by an affidavit of truth and go unrebutted, the official's authority may be voided under the doctrine, and personal liability may attach. The doctrine thus serves as a check against abuse of discretion and a tool for preserving constitutional and procedural integrity. Footnote: This section addresses how the clean hands doctrine applies to public servants and their legal accountability. Conclusion: Honor as standing in equity. The equitable doctrine of clean hands is more than a legal technicality, it is a substantive ethical requirement embedded in jurisprudence. It functions as both a sword and a shield in commercial, administrative, and equitable procedures. The party in honor not only gains standing but may also gain remedy by default when the opposing party violates principles of fair dealing. In a legal system often dominated by form over substance, the doctrine of clean hands restores a necessary moral axis. It affirms that law without honor is not justice, and remedy without merit is not lawful. Footnote: This section emphasizes the ethical and procedural power of remaining in honor under the clean hands doctrine. Sections 80 to 100, Advanced Implications and Remedy Amplification. In any lawful administrative or equity-based process mark the threshold of finality. At this stage, the evidentiary record must be complete, the affidavits must be unrebutted, and any attempt at rebuttal must have failed to meet commercial and equitable standards. The doctrine of clean hands becomes fully activated here, serving not only as a defensive doctrine but as a basis for initiating claims of dishonor, fraud, and enforcement of remedy. If unrebutted, it becomes judgment in commerce. Remedy amplification at this level includes perfected liens, claims for damages, and enforcement by public filing, including UCC-1 financing statements or county-level declarations of status. Once dishonor is established on the record and the moving party is proven to have acted without clean hands, all further claims against the respondent may be dismissed with prejudice, and counterclaims may be initiated for injury, trespass, or administrative malfeasance. Footnote: This section clarifies the procedural significance of sections 80 to 100, where clean hands solidifies into enforceable remedy, judgment, or lien. Enforcement instruments and execution strategies. Following section 100, the remedy must move from the paper record into actionable enforcement. This includes the filing of notices of claim, affidavits of default, UCC-1 financing statements, and liens of obligation. The party in honor, having established a default in equity, may proceed to extract remedy via lawful commercial instruments. These filings must match the factual claims in the administrative record and be filed in jurisdictions where enforcement is anticipated, typically county recorders' offices or secretaries of state. Failure to match process with form can jeopardize the entire remedy structure. Therefore, a clear understanding of lien syntax, debtor-creditor distinctions, and execution protocol is vital. Footnote: this section transitions from final judgment to enforcement, explaining lawful filing strategies and lien protocols for post-default remedy. Post-enforcement defenses and remedies. The aftermath of judgment and the potential defenses that may be raised by parties previously found in dishonor. At this stage, the presumption of guilt or liability has been solidified by a record of unrebutted affidavits and administrative default. However, attempts may be made to reopen the matter via counterclaims, emergency motions, or appeals to statutory jurisdiction. The clean hands doctrine remains operative here, acting as a filter against bad faith attempts to relitigate matters already adjudicated in commerce. If any new claim is advanced by the dishonoring party, it must include proof that the prior dishonor was in error, and the responding party must defend their record only by affirming the unrebutted nature of the original affidavits. Enforcement defenses must rest on substantive new evidence or errors in process, not mere disagreement. The clean hands doctrine ensures that judicial economy is preserved and that justice is not obstructed by strategic abuse. Footnote: this section provides guidance on preserving remedy post-enforcement and protecting against bad faith relitigation tactics. Clean hands as an ongoing duty. The obligation to maintain clean hands does not terminate with the issuance of a judgment or lien. A party seeking to retain remedy must remain in procedural and ethical integrity throughout all stages of enforcement, correspondence, and settlement. Any retaliatory conduct, excessive enforcement, or failure to provide opportunity to cure can result in the forfeiture of previously secured standing. Equity regards with scrutiny those who, having prevailed, act with hostility or concealment. Therefore, clean hands becomes not only a barrier to entry in law but a continuous standard of behavior in equity. The living party in honor must continue to demonstrate transparency, reasonableness, and procedural correctness even when executing liens or collecting damages. Footnote: this section defines clean hands as a continuous duty rather than a one-time threshold, extending into the post-remedy phase.